Welcome to the Marketing Smarts live show by Marketing Profs and the Marketing Smarts podcast, where we dive into B2B news, resources, valuable guest content, and much, much more each week. If this is the way that my mouth is going to work, we might be in trouble, but probably not. If you're a B2B marketer looking for a place to learn, keep up to date, and have some fun along the way, well, grab a beverage, a notepad, or at least some style of writing utensil, and welcome to the show. Marketers are opinionated people, and Marcus Sheridan is full of opinions, whether he's calling out marketers who think of themselves as special, except they're not, referring to call us for a quote as the middle finger of the internet, or insisting that B2B marketing can be just as sexy as swimming pools. And Marcus has good reason for it too. When you're teaching and communicating and you're selling at the same time, people expect you to be biased, says Marcus. You have to say something early on in the conversation that throws them off, almost makes them flinch and say, "What? I can't believe you just said that." That and so much more for Marcus Sheridan on today's Marketing Smarts live show. Hello to all my Marketing Smarts live viewers today. I'm super excited to bring you episode number 49 of the Marketing Smarts live show. This week's topic is all about world-class case studies. They ask, you answer, and building trust. So if you're ready to get your learn on, buckle up and let's get ready to rock and roll. I'm your boy, George B. Thomas, speaker, trainer, catalyst, and the host of this here show, the Marketing Smarts live show, as well as the Marketing Smarts podcast found on your favorite podcast app. Our guest clips today are brought to you by none other than Marcus Sheridan. Marcus Sheridan is a highly sought after international keynote speaker known for his unique ability to excite, engage, and motivate audiences. In 2017, Forbes named Marcus one of the 20 speakers you don't want to miss. He has been dubbed a web marketing guru by the New York Times and been featured in Inc., The Globe, Forbes, and many more. As an owner of Impact, Marcus has established one of the most successful digital sales and marketing agencies in the country. Mashable rated his book, They Ask You Answer, the #1 marketing book, and Forbes listed as one of the 11 marketing books every CMO should read. Now, remember the clips of Marcus Sheridan today are pulled from the full Marketing Smarts podcast episode. And if you want to listen to the full interview with Marcus Sheridan and myself, make sure to tune into the Marketing Smarts podcast. Link to the full show will be in the description below after the live show ends. Now, in this episode, again, I'm talking with Marcus Sheridan about world-class case studies, They Ask You Answer, and building trust, and maybe a little bit about video along the way. The first question I wanted to ask Marcus was the importance of video in all of the topics, an in-house videographer, and what that means for our conversation today, and if there are any keys to success that we should be paying attention to. Now, here's what he had to share with you and me.
Well, you talk about just beating drums for long periods of time. Once again, George, you and I were, basically picking people up by their shirts, begging them to do video years ago before it was cool. Well, it's funny, you have prediction posts at the beginning of every year, right? And I swear, since basically 2014, this is going to be the year of video. It's like, what the heck is going on? We're on a 10-year run. This is the year of video. I can't stress its importance enough. Most people listening to this right now should have an in-house videographer that they're working for. You should, as a company, be producing at least two videos a week. If you're not producing at least 2 videos a week as a company, I just feel like either you don't get it or you're lazy. It's one of those two things, because the companies that are doing it, they're crushing it. It's not even close. And 2023, in so many ways, is the year of the short vertical style video. I'm all in on them. I just think they're an absolute, just the algorithm loves it. And it's, the economies of scale. You could take, one 60-second vertical short style video and you can upload it on YouTube Shorts. You can post it on Instagram Reel, Facebook Reel. You can post it on TikTok. And the beauty is not only do the algorithms love it and the people love it, A couple other benefits come from it. YouTube Shorts actually show up in search engine results. So it's not just this one-hit wonder. It's not like you're slapping it on Twitter and people are never going to see it after 7 seconds. I mean, this is going to be potentially the gift that keeps on giving. The other really, really cool thing about any type of vertical style video is incredibly economical to do, and you do not have to have heavy editing. You don't even have to have heavy skills. If I may, George, let me just say there's 3 fundamental keys of a world-class short video. And if you just nail these 3 keys, you're just going to crush with it. Number 1, far and away, is you got to create a curiosity gap. What a curiosity gap is when someone says, how does this end? I just want to know, like, what's the payoff here? And that's why we sit around and watch stupid videos until the end. Sometimes we get mad, sometimes we get happy, but we are waiting for the payoff. That's the curiosity gap from the beginning. It starts with your title, and then it occurs with other elements of the video. The second rule is what we call the 5-second rule, which is you should have a cut every 5 seconds when you're producing short style video if you can. So think 3 to 5 seconds, new scene, 3 to 5 seconds, new scene. It's very, very cool like that. And each scene is like a chapter in the story that you're showing, whatever that thing is, all right? So every 3 to 5 seconds, you want to have a cut. And then finally, third rule of great short vertical style video is overcoming the curse of knowledge. And the curse of knowledge is you've got all these things that you do in your business that you take for granted. We all do. And you think the whole world just knows what they are, but they don't. They don't. So let me give you a simple example of how this worked for me. I've got an offshore fishing company in North Carolina where George lives, and a YouTube channel where we do offshore fishing videos. And I created a video that was how do you get a 500-pound bluefin tuna into the boat? Now, you're already thinking to yourself, well, I want to know how this ends. I want to see how they get it into the boat. You catch a big fish, how do you get it into the boat, right? And so you're seeing the process of me pulling it into the boat, and you've got these different components of how it's happening. You're watching the fish 1 second, and then you're watching the guys pull levers to pull it in, and then you're watching another person jump on the rope to wiggle the fish through the door, and all these things are happening, and it's like, wow, that's amazing. And then boom, across all 4 of those channels I mentioned earlier, that got about 5 million views, right? That's how the power of shorts. And you can get incredible gains. As somebody said to me in 2023, what's the quickest way to get awareness? Not necessarily make sales, but awareness for my brand. It would absolutely be shorts. And in the B2B space, still nobody for the most part is doing them. And so that's really, really great. And the reason for that is in the B2B space, what happens, George, we say things like, I don't have a very visual product. I mean, this is kind of boring what we do, right? This is what we tell ourselves. That's the lie. And because of that, we think we don't have this really, really cool thing to show. I mean, that's magic. I just love it when people say our industry is too boring. They used to say all the time to me, like, swimming pools, they're not very sexy. I'm like, what's more sexy than a swimming pool? I mean, this is the home of the bikini. Of course it's sexy, right? But that's what I heard for years from people. It just didn't make any sense to me. When people are spending their money, it's a very sexy industry, period. Okay, you just got to learn to show it better. Tell the story, show the story.
Tell the story, show the story. Are you using short form video content? Are you paying attention to the 3 keys or rules to video in your marketing efforts? I'm curious, do you have a videographer in your organization? Inquiring minds want to know. Put the answer to that in the chat pane or let me know on Twitter using the hashtag MPB2B, and of course, tag me using @GeorgeB.Thomas. Now, we'll get back to Marcus Sheridan and his thoughts on the world-class case studies they ask, you answer, and building trust. But first, I have to ask, are you part of the Marketing Profs community? If not, become part of the Marketing Profs community by heading over to mprofs.com/MP today. That's mprofs.com/MP today. Now, it's time for one of my favorite sections in the B2B news, where we talk about breaking B2B news or really important tips we find on the Google News tab related to you and your B2B business. This week, the title is How to Transform B2B Engagement with Video Marketing. Kathy Flom Greenspan. Almost 1/3 of Americans say they are online almost consistently or constantly scrolling through social media feeds, scanning headlines, and responding to Slack messages. Even a decade ago, when the web was much less widespread and smartphones were just achieving mass market appeal, The average American consumed more than 100,000 words daily between print and web content. That's almost a quarter of War and Peace, a famously verbose text. Today, this total is undoubtedly higher. People are awash in text, swimming in an ocean of words while trying to achieve the proverbial equivalent of drinking from a fire hose with a straw. Unsurprisingly, online audiences have become skimmers, overwhelmed with the volume of online information flooding their screens. As a result, finding potential strategies for capturing audiences' attention has become paramount. This is especially true for B2B organizations looking to optimize their brand messaging for a word saturated ecosystem. Cue the video, including live action, screen recorded, and animated productions as valued assets to augment or replace written content online. In 2023 and beyond, video isn't a nice to have B2B marketing asset. It's a critical pillar of any effective B2B marketing program. Ready to learn 5 steps to implement a successful video marketing strategy? Well, to read the article, check out the link below when the live show is over. All those tips are right in there. So let's get back to Marcus Sheridan and his Marketing Smarts podcast episode. With the next question, I wanted to get Marcus' thoughts on content is hard because, man, do I hear it a ton. Is it content? Is it the team or leadership that is really the root problem? What makes content hard or that perception? And here's what Marcus had to say.
Well, when we say something is hard or easy, it's so relative, right? Because what's hard for one person might be easy for the next. So, for example, there's many organizations right now where you've got great writers that could easily produce a piece of content, but the subject matter experts stink up the joint. They either don't engage the marketing team, they're not availing themselves to the marketing team, and because of that, it's like pulling teeth to get content. Now, is the content difficult? No, it's the team. We have a buy-in problem. If you have a buy-in problem, it means you have a leadership problem. It means leadership hasn't expressed very, very clearly the clear priority of sales and marketing or subject matter experts and marketing working together. That's actually the most common that we see. The other one that we see, George, out there is too many companies think that a piece of content is like the Declaration of freaking Independence, and they've got to beat it to death in order to publish the thing, right? Thomas Jefferson cried after he wrote the Declaration of Independence because they changed it so very much. So what we see today wasn't where it started, right? And that's oftentimes what companies do. They're just looking for things to pick apart about the content, which is utterly ridiculous and sad. And so you can't have that mindset. It's got to have a very good enough mindset. And is this easily understood? Does this answer the question? We're not trying to sound smart. We're trying to reach communion, right, with our audience. And so these are major areas. I think another, hack, if you will. I mean, it's not a hack, but you got to have people that are writers on staff, not people that can write. There's a difference. Writers, right? It's one of those things where you can sit there and you can pull teeth and you can have the CEO or somebody on the leadership team or the sales manager try to pop out content, or you can just stick them in front of somebody that's asking them questions. 20 minutes later, they got a great piece of content because now they've dumped what's in their head and they've given it to the person that go out there and produce it because they've got a journalistic skill set. And so I think we still undersell that. That's problematic. And look, I mean, with AI, ChatGPT, there's never been an easier time to create content. Of course, you still got to humanize it. You got to add that personal tone. You got to do it in a first-person style. You got to add those, personal experiences and stories, company stories, customer stories, experiences. But I just don't think there's any excuse at this point not to be producing content as an organization. I think we should be doing more, not less. I think it's quality and quantity. It's very, very possible to do. It's not an either or. And this, though, is why most companies still, they just want to throw money at a thing and feel good about it and just continue to do paid and all this stuff. And I'm fine with paid advertising, but great content is the gift that keeps on giving. A great video, a great article, or whatever the thing is can continue to sell for you and work for you and develop trust for you 5-10 years down the road. Literally, it's beautiful, it's amazing. And so keep that in mind. I still think most companies, 90%, aren't doing content nearly like they should be, George.
Great content is the gift that keeps on giving. Are you beating your content to death? Are you picking apart your content, or are you paying attention to these three things? Is it good enough? Is it easily understood? Does it answer the question? Are you reaching communion with your potential audience? Are you doing content like you should be? Well, we'll get back to Marcus Sheridan in a few minutes, but first it's time for some dope B2B learnings from the vault of Marketing Prof's articles. That's right. It's time to dig into the treasure trove of valuable information and pull out 2 pieces of gold to help you be a better B2B marketer. Article 1 this week is Social Video Marketing, Create Conversations and Build Customer Loyalty by Melody King. Here's a list of buzzwords for you: social video and marketing. But if you put them together, they create something that can powerfully engage customers and greatly improve their online experience. It's a combination that works very well for online marketing. The grassroots viral environment of social media, videos, ability to engage, and a strong marketing strategy. You're likely well aware of video's value in bringing your brand and messages to life, but simply positioning or posting video isn't enough to change consumer behavior. You'll need to do extra work to encourage people to interact with your content, contribute their ideas, and give it the thumbs up. As social media changes the rules about marketing and relationships, conversation must be a part of any content you produce. Article number 2 this week is 5 tips from leading companies for online video marketing by Eduardo Nazario. More companies are using online video to boost their marketing outreach, and with good reason. Customers are now using video to educate themselves on products and services before they buy, and that extends across both the consumer and business-to-business markets. One survey by Ecolo Media in 2011 found that buyers of technology products, by the way, that means it only got more in the day that we are in. Products ranked video third behind only brochures and data sheets and white papers as the type of content they consume most frequently when evaluating a purchase. Video, in fact, got a higher response rate than case studies, which suggests just how valuable the medium has become. The more companies pick up on the video marketing trend, the more information becomes available on which video tactics produce the best results and which technologies drive the greatest efficiencies. Here are tech tips and tricks from 5 companies that are making online video work for them by leaning or learning from the experiences of these first movers. The marketing industry as a whole can increase the effectiveness of its video use and improve online video marketing results. Do you want to keep learning more? If so, check out the links in the description below after the live show to get access to both amazing Marketing Profs articles. All right, back to Marcus Sheridan. Let's dive back into this conversation of world-class case studies. They ask, you answer, and building trust. In this next section, I wanted to ask Marcus, what should we be measuring success by? Very interesting question. Very interesting answer. Let's see what he had to say.
I'll tell you what's not by: impressions. That's the stupidest metric in the history of the world. I was reading this thing. I was actually this morning, George, where it was like these content awards or something like that, and I was reading like what was the case study, like what had they done that caused them the award, and it's like generated 9.7 million impressions. I'm like, yeah. And you could still get fired tomorrow if you weren't generating revenue for your organization. I mean, you got to get leads, you got to get sales. I think for marketing, we have to be more responsible overall in terms of recognizing that we become a revenue-based department. And if we as marketers want to get raises, which we deserve, I believe, if we want to get paid what we should be paid, value how we should be valued, resource like we should be resourced, we have to prove our value to the organization. And I know sometimes that's easier said than done. You might lack the tools or whatever. But part of being a great marketer is communicating in a clear way that leadership really understands the value. Too many marketers talk like marketers. If you want to be an incredibly successful marketer, you have to speak the language of leadership when you're with your leadership team. You have to speak the language of sales when you're with the sales team. I think this is the one thing that's helped me so very much, George, right? Is I've owned my own businesses. I really started as a sales guy for the most part, right? And I got into marketing later on. And so I will switch the language at any point in time, depending on who I'm talking to. And this way it resonates. Again, we're never trying to sound smart. We're not trying to distance ourselves. It's dumb not to dumb it down. The smartest marketers in the world know this. We're not trying to sound smart. I'm not trying to look smart on video. I'm not trying to sound smart on an article. I'm not trying to sound smart today as we're having this conversation, George. You do this. You're very good at this. I pride myself in this. We're just trying to be understood. That's the essence of great marketing. Now, you asked a question at the beginning of this. I don't even remember what it was because I went on a little bit of a tangent there. But, these are strong feelings that I have. And I think if you want to separate yourself from your peers, you got to remember these points.
You got to love tangents and you got to love strong feelings. But I have to ask you, are you a revenue-based department? Are you being valued as you should be? Are you communicating in a way that leadership values? And are you talking like a marketer? More importantly, can you switch to the language of sales as needed? Some very important pieces that Marcus was sharing. We're going to get some words of wisdom from Marcus Sheridan, by the way, here in a few minutes. But right now, it's time to turn the spotlight on you, the Marketing Profs community. Yep, time for From the hashtag MPB2B community. We search far and wide in the hashtag MPB2B universe to find amazing information and conversations to bring to you, the masses. So first, make sure you're using the hashtag. And second, make sure you have fun and add value to the community along the way. Then we'll spotlight you or your crew on the show. This week, it's the man, the myth, the legend, I have to be honest, Jay Acunzo. His LinkedIn says, I help experts become storytellers, creator, kitchen mastermind, unthinkable podcast, author, speaker, showrunner. His LinkedIn post goes a little something like this. It's marketing conference season, which means a few things. One, Ann Hanley has already raided her closet for her best pattern suit and her tips to Maine for a few dozen incredible anecdotes and metaphors. Andy Crestodina has somewhere between 2 and 202 new and very mathy ways to change your marketing forever. Joe Polizzi is draping his entire person in orange clothing and crossing all 10 digits that the Browns become a winning franchise somehow. And I'm busy prepping once more for one of my favorite events, Marketing Profs B2B Forum, hashtag MPB2B. This year, it's once again in my hometown of Boston. I hope you can make it. For a $200 off in-person ticket, guests can register here. There's a link and use a special speaker guest promo, See Me Speak. This is Jay, by the way, his post. I'll be talking or taking us inside the development process of shows that stand out. Whether you have or want to host a podcast or a video series, it's time we stopped creating a forgettable collection of interviews and advice content. Yes, even in B2B, and learned to create true originals without magically adding budget to the equation. See you there. You need to check out the description and click on the link. It's pretty dope. Awesome. I'll say, get the discount. Get the discount. Marketing Smarts viewers, I have to ask, are you going to be next to get the spotlight? Remember, community, use the hashtag MPB2B on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and get the light shined on you or your awesomeness in the next episode or a future episode of the Marketing Smarts live show. Pro tip, it won't hurt if you tag me in the post as well. I'm at George B. Thomas on LinkedIn and Twitter. All right, let's kick it back to Marcus Sheridan and some words of wisdom around this topic of world-class case studies. They ask, you answer, building trust, video, all the things. Here's what Marcus Sheridan wanted to leave us with his words of wisdom.
So I look back at some of the mistakes that I made, George, and some of the good decisions that I made. And I think the most influential business book I ever read was Good to Great, and by Collins. And the reason why Good to Great really hit me, it emphasized this silly analogy of the hedgehog concept. And of course, hedgehogs don't do many things well at all, but what they do really well is they roll up in a ball and they protect themselves. And so therefore, they live a long time. And that's the hedgehog. So I started seeing everything from what can I have as my hedgehog? And a hedgehog is essentially what can you be the best in the world at? You still got to enjoy it and love it, but what can you be the best in the world at that can drive your economic engine? And so from a marketing perspective, we should have our hedgehogs. You have to ask yourself as a marketer, what can we, in terms of our marketing department, with our particular organization, brand, etc., what can we be the best in the world at? So back in the day at River Pools, at first I said, okay, I can be the best in the world at producing written content about fiberglass swimming pools. I didn't do anything with social media at all, George, if you can believe that. I was just producing written content. And then I said, okay, we're rolling here, we're crushing, let's add video. And so we started adding video. And it was just specific to YouTube. We still weren't doing social media. We weren't messing with it. And so we were clearly just focused in on what could we be the best in the world at. We had a particular style. That's what we were doing. We weren't trying to be all things to everyone. If you try to be a jack of all marketing trades, there's a very good chance you're going to be a master of none. So say, what can we be a master of one with first? Let's master that. Let's become great at it, and then let's move to the next thing. That's one recommendation. So make sure you read Good to Great, Jim Collins. It's one of those that you should read probably once a year if you're in business.
Once a year. Interesting. How many books do you have that you read once a year, every year? Have you read Good to Great at all? Do you have your marketing hedgehogs? What can be the best? What can we or you be the best at with your marketing organization? Are you being a master of one or jack of none in your company? Have you enjoyed today's journey? That's the real question. Let us know. Use the hashtag MPB2B on whatever platform you're joining us on. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeedy. Head to the description below. Click on all the links to the full Marketing Smarts podcast and other resources with Marcus Sheridan, and keep on learning more about world-class case studies, video, they ask you answer, building trust. So many good things in the conversation that I had with Marcus. Remember, these were just a few clips of the original Marketing Smarts podcast interview. If you got value from today's show, hit that like, and better yet, share it with a friend. To keep learning more, hit subscribe or watch additional Marketing Prof videos on your favorite social channel, or head over to our YouTube channel if you're not there yet. Or you can go tune into the original Marketing Smarts podcast episode on your favorite podcast app. Don't forget to become part of the Marketing Profs community by heading over to mprofs.com/MP today. That's mprofs.com/MP today. And as always, remember to be a happy, helpful, humble B2B marketing human. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Marketing Smarts podcast next week.